Nick Lewis. This is Raw Rebellion. I'm here with Kyle Gillenhughes from Planted in Presence. And today marks day 75 of my juice feast, solid food vacation. And I keep saying I'm going to take it one day at a time, but really I'm aiming for 100 days, which means I will be breaking on January 7th. I attempted to break on day 51 with the prunes, but I tried 2 days in a row and my mind told me that it's not time yet. So Kyle is 1 month fully raw again. Isn't that right, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm eating raw food after a lot of reflection and just how I feel in my body and my being. Raw is how I feel. I think there's the laws of nature, and gravity is a law of nature. We have lots of laws of nature, and human beings are the only animal on planet Earth that aren't eating 100% raw food diet. Now, that's an interesting statement because we can also think human beings also fly in planes and create things that other animals do not create.
Yeah, but what's important to note is that you have a reference point now that a lot of people don't have, which is that you've been high raw or fully raw in the past and have seen the results.
Definitely, and I think I'd recommend people, if you can do, if a lot of people, if you're watching this video and you're making an effort, I don't know how people would self-categorize themselves eating a standard American diet, but even if you feel like you could be making some healthier choices, maybe you put down some calzone some nights or some pizza or some stuff that you just eat and you don't really feel very healthy or balanced afterwards, and you might have those inner thoughts like, oh, I could take a little bit better care of myself. I recommend trying to just eat raw vegan for a week, trying to do or even if you feel like you can't eat raw vegan for a week, try to do like a raw vegan until 4 p.m. Because when you start consuming more, because what we're putting into our body is, you kind of think of it like on a macro and micro scale. Like us as human beings, like we're organic beings in the world, in the environment. And this world is like, we're living in a hypersentient world. Like, the trees around us, the sand, the mud, the earth beneath us, the plants, all the energy, everything is vibrating, has a unique vibration. And naturally, someone who's living in a desert climate is being shaped, formed, and fashioned by their environment in a very different way than someone like Nick and I living here in like a New England climate, which is a pretty relatively temperate, but also has all 4 seasons. It gets cold and snowy, it gets spring, rainy and cool, and then it has warm, hot summers. So my point being in a different environment is going to affect all of us differently. Similarly, think about the food. Our bodies are an environment, and we're creating the environment for the nutrients we absorb. We're putting food in. If we've been damaging our environment all life, we've been drinking soda, we've been eating cheese pizza, cheese coming from animals that have antibiotics and hormones, and saturated fat from dairy, which is inhibiting our body's ability to absorb nutrients, then your environment is going to become damaged. So when you're putting food into that environment, you could be eating lots of healthy food, but because the environment has been so damaged, you're not going to be able to absorb those nutrients very well. So thinking about like the food that we're putting in is like, think about like we are these organic beings inside of a bigger scale that is being shaped by our environment, by the weather, by the temperature. It's all affecting our emotions, our mood, our psychological state, our connectedness. If you just look at human beings and how the seasons affect us. Now think of your body being an environment. My body is like a desert tundra. My body is like, if your body's really inflamed,
you need water.
You need to live in a balanced environment. Human beings, naturally, there are human beings who live in extreme deserts, there are human beings who live in extreme tundra, but naturally human beings, we want to settle in a temperate climate. Similarly with our body.
And tropical.
We want to, in a warm, something that's ideally, tropical is pretty temperate.
I'm missing the sun over here, man. I really feel like I need sun pretty badly, and as soon as I break this fast, I'm going to go somewhere warm. I know I am. I don't know if it's Jamaica or somewhere. I'm getting a ticket. I'm getting the hell out of here for a little bit. But
Do it, man. Enjoy the warm weather.
3/4 of the way into my juice feast, my solid food vacation, I just want to touch upon the pros and cons so far. I'll start with the negative stuff just so I get that out of the way. There is still a lot of emotional detox. There is finding out which things do not agree with me. There is the need for enemas. And though I find when I do the enemas, my skin clears right up. So I would get some face stuff around the mouth, kind of up here. But to do an enema, just with distilled water, and that in a day or two, my face is completely clear again. I have, so I'll save that for the good. The other negative stuff, on my days when I'm slightly less energy, there still is some irritability. And sometimes I have to buy dead juice just to get my calories for the day. Sometimes we need to
ask you about caloric density on doing a juice only, or even just in a raw diet, in any diet. I think caloric density is important, because I think a lot of people fail trying to do long-term on just juice. I think some people simply mentally, whatever it is, some people start things and just aren't fully in them,
Right, and also it takes understanding the ripple effect and the damage that's already been done, because we're born with anatomical limitations, and when we go against those, we damage ourselves and we create new anatomical limitations. And if we don't understand that, then we're not going to understand what's happening to us when we try and switch to a species-specific diet or do a juice fast. So there, I have to drink dead juice some days. Sometimes you need to do what's less than ideal to get the job done. But I noticed a huge difference from when I drink freshly made juice to when I have to make the juice and then store it and bring it with me to work. There is a very noticeable difference there. Sometimes I'm just, I don't want to take the time, or I'm too lazy to use the Green Star, and I'll just use my Breville because it gets juice out of the produce a lot faster, although it does not produce as much yield, and it oxidizes it a little bit. But you know what? If I need a quick fruit juice or carrot juice or celery juice or something, the Breville's great for that. And then when I need to get my greens in, I need to juice my parsley, or lettuce or whatever other greens it is. I found that I just can't do spinach. Spinach does not agree with me at all. I'm guessing it's the oxalic acid or something. But I tried, experimented with spinach, had terrible side effects from that. And then as like a day without spinach and I'm all better, so it's crazy. Another negative, which is kind of between the negative and the positive side, is my sense of smell. It's too keen. It's too strong, and like people smell terrible to me. Everyone, I can't stand near too many people. And I just, I think it's my senses are just too acute, too sensitive, too sharp. So,
man, I think the nose knows.
Yeah.
The nose knows. And as us, as primitive beings, I think, especially now more than ever, our noses are so desensitized with, you can imagine, like, and I realized, I was talking to my mom in the car the other day, and the amount of chlorine we inhale through our showers, because chlorine is added to our water,
right,
which is damaging the cells in our noses.
So you could get a shower filter. Yeah,
definitely. I'm working on that.
Yeah, I just got a distiller.
I just like to crack my window open a little bit when I take showers.
That's a good idea.
Like, I'm not inhaling as much of the chlorine, so some of it just goes right out the window. But the nose knows, and my point being is our noses are very desensitized. Like, as I mean, obviously we're not living in sub-Saharan Africa or wherever we were evolving at some point. I think also my mind just went to so many places. Just in terms of like human evolution and philosophy and like what is beyond our personal experience. It's like I can talk about evolution,
Right.
I can talk about God, I can talk about consciousness. Like I was thinking about, some people don't even believe in evolution. Some like, I don't know. Like I don't like. Thing is, I'm trying not to just put myself in boxes anymore. I'm trying to be more open and fluid in my thought.
It's really hard
Experiences.
to, and I'm with you there, man. That's another thing. I don't know if you call this a negative or a positive. My mind goes really back and forth while I'm on this. I mean, my mind's always been like that, but right now, particularly my values, I'm always questioning my values. I'm always like, am I right to think this? Am I right to judge this person for this? Some days I wake up and I'm like, I really don't want to care what anyone's doing. I don't want to care about what they're eating, about, their politics or ethics or anything like that. I just want to, enjoy my life, drinking juice or eating raw food. Then other days I'll wake up and I'll just be like, no, like I can't stand the injustices in the world, and I can't, you know what I mean? And I'm not willing to keep my mouth shut. And so I go back and forth a lot, and I guess that would be another thing to put in the negative box. But and I just want to wrap up the negatives really quick, because the positives like definitely outweigh. I'm just trying to think anything. So there was terrible emotional detox. There's some acne, but you clear that up with enemas. There's the moods, like kind of varying mood value system is anyway. And some irritability. So, okay, I'd say that's pretty much it for the negatives. Positives. My skin has never been softer and clearer. The days that I'm up, I'm really up. There's really great clarity of mind, and this has also allowed me to take time to work on myself a lot more and do like a lot of self-help work, practicing The Secret, practicing self-validation and affirmations, and really trying to meditating. I watched a Ted Carr video, and he said do the meditating in the morning and the evening. Okay, I'm doing it 20 minutes before bed and when I wake up, like clockwork now. I had a consultation with John Rose. He told me, he said, hey man, you got to get to bed like before 10 o'clock every night. Between 10 and 3 is the most crucial hours for sleep. So for your REM, and if you have an immune deficiency, which I do, and that's what I was telling him, that's very important. So I've incorporated that. Now I am going to bed between 9:30 and 10:30 every night. Waking up, it's so random. Last night I woke up at 3 a.m. and then I was just up, some days I wake up at 7, or up. So that's varying. But I do feel better with that. I love waking up early, getting all my juices done, and then I got so much time in the morning before I have to go to work, which is great, and I'll do some stretching.
And that's been big for me, is like, it's worth going to sleep earlier so you can wake up a little bit earlier before your job, before your class, whatever. Because when you create that space for yourself, you want to call it time, space, energy, when you wake up in the morning, when you wake up in the celebration of life, you will have spaciousness in your life. You have patience. When we wake up and first thing we do get out of bed, every day is a whole life. We are born and we die every day. Sleep, dreaming is the cousin of death. That is very real. So if you want to think in this way, and I don't say this as a fear tactic, I say it as a cherish what you're doing each day, and have a goal. If you're in a job, if you're in a situation which is not the first place you'd like to be in, what is it in your life right now that you're thankful for? Is it someone in your life who loves you and cares about you? Is it it could be the most simple thing.
Tony Robbins says, give yourself 3 things you're grateful for each day that happened that day or the day before, and be really as generous as you can. really trying to work on that right now, increasing my generosity, increasing my gratitude. And look, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. And another negative of this is that some days I really do have low energy. But
and you and I, we're creating similarly, like the food creates a reference point. Life isn't only the food. That's what's amazing with the raw food is it's a tool. The raw food doesn't liberate you. The raw food isn't what brings you the balanced lifestyle. The raw food is just a facet.
It's more like a key that helps unlock the door. To allow you to step through if you want to do the work. So you can see the door opening or the path more easily with the raw food because it just makes you a more spiritual person. It makes you a more empathetic person, in my experience, and it seems that way for like a lot of people in the raw community. But so another, I want to say the biggest pro to this whole thing, and one of the main reasons I started doing it is I have an IgA deficiency, and my IgA is very low. Last time I got it tested was at 20, which was when I was kind of high raw, but that was up from 15 the time I tested it before that. It's supposed to be between 85 and 425, so I'm very low, but that means that basically anytime I would come in contact with someone with a cold or flu, and I don't know exactly, it might not have just been that factor, but that was one of the factors. I would get sick. I would always get sick. I get sick this time of year every year. I've come into contact with more than half a dozen people who are sick, who have a cold or flu-like symptoms, been in very close proximity with them, and I have not gotten sick yet. And it's been, over 2.5 months. So that is huge for me. That's a very, very, very big change in my life. To feel that an immunity or defense.
To not feel low and down.
Yeah.
To not just accept it and say, oh, I always get sick this time of year. Oh, you see how, and this is the thing with raw food, eating that way, eating a raw food diet will create a new reference point for you. Even if you're just making a point to eat more raw food in your diet. You don't have to be vegan, you don't have to be raw, but just making an effort to eat more raw food, you're going to notice those connections in yourself and your being. Also, the thing is, too, you start eating more raw food, a lot of those negative thoughts might come to the surface as well as your body is cleaning out stuff. So be compassionate with those negative thoughts. I was on a run today, and I was thinking to myself, I know only my truth. No one knows. Truth is an internal feeling. It's an internal experience. The truth, there isn't, as far as I'm concerned, there isn't the truth because every one of us is incredibly unique. You need to feel truth within yourself. You don't need to do anything. I'm just making suggestions. But feel it for yourself. See how you feel.
Observe those emotions. You don't have to act upon emotions.
It's okay
as soon as they come into your mind. You can practice observing them first before you act upon them, because they don't have to be a part of you if you don't want them to be. But that's also a lot of work that needs to be done there.
Yeah, I become so aware too. The thoughts you're having, we seldom realize, or I seldom, at a moment in time, I seldom realized how much the thoughts I was having was affecting my mood. We can confuse the thoughts, positive, negative, neutral, however you want to describe them, as our feelings, because thoughts have such a powerful effect to create feeling in our being. But it's important to distinguish feeling and thought. When am I thinking, comparing myself, judging myself, and then feeling low energy? Am I feeling low energy because I'm neglecting my health? No, I'm feeling low energy because I'm thinking a thought unconsciously that's negative.
Right. Well, it's your state, and that also has to do with your physical state. Tony Robbins talks about this a lot. You got to change your physical state. Sometimes it takes changing your physical state before you get to change your mental state, and
vice versa.
And vice versa. Well, and that's where I see the raw food makes it easy. I find the raw food makes it easier for me to channel a better state of mind. And I just want to come back to the pros, list one more. Through this journey, maybe a handful of times or so, I shit out mucoid plaque, or what looks exactly like what you see on the internet. That's called mucoid plaque. It's literally like a mold of your small intestine coming out. And a few times that happened, I literally lost like a half inch each time on my waist, which is just crazy. So that's a real thing. I've witnessed it. I actually have a friend who used to be a mortician. He's not vegan. He's not raw vegan or anything. He concurs that he said, look, I studied the anatomy. I've cut open tons of dead people. Mucoid plaque is a real thing. I've had to clean it out of people. And maybe some point I can convince him to do an interview with me. So, just to throw some light on that. Yeah. But other than that, 75 days, I'm feeling a lot better now. The emotional cleansing is definitely chilling out a lot. I'm not really having any other... one thing that's happened, and this has happened when I'm not on the Juice Feast, and it almost completely went away when I was in California, so I think it really has to do with sunlight, is I sometimes get a little bit of tingling or numbness in one of my toes on my right foot, and I take my B12 spray and I take my vegan D3 supplement, but I really feel like it has to do with the temperature and actually getting real sun on my skin, and it doesn't do it all day long. It depends on the time of day. Like right now I'm in the sauna, it's super hot in here and it's not doing that. So
I also think it's always a good idea. It doesn't hurt to get your B12 to get your. I think vegans definitely benefit from taking a DHA supplement. Do I think it's absolutely necessary? It's debatable. I think it's a wise move to take a vegan DHA supplement,
or at least a spoonful of flax oil or hemp oil or something.
Yeah, I mean the algae oil is unique in the amount of bioactive DHA. The body does not efficiently convert DHA from ALA sources like walnuts, flaxseed, and seeds. That's why I think the algae oil.
And if you eat chlorella or spirulina, and you eat actual algae powders, that can contain DHA, and also I believe seaweeds as well. But yeah, if you get a good one,
different sources of supplements doesn't hurt. Think about it, like similar with fruits and vegetables. When you're eating fruits and vegetables, if you're eating you could have every single fruit veggie imaginable, man, grown in let's say one plot. Think about that. The soil in that one plot only has so many nutrients. You're getting unique nutrients when you eat things from different places. So similarly, want to eat fruits and vegetables that are grown in different areas to get different nutrients that in different unique soil. It doesn't hurt to take like a different type of B12 supplement because the bioavailability of the B12, whatnot. It's just a healthy precaution.
Get a SpectraCell test, which is what I plan to do before I finish this juice fast. I'm going to get a blood test and a SpectraCell test. And from my understanding of natural hygiene, SpectraCell is a much better indicator of what you're actually low on than compared to your blood, because blood can just vary almost minute to minute depending on when you get it done. So other than that, and the weight loss, I've lost, for me, it seems like a fuck ton of weight. I think it really fluctuates, actually, probably like 10 pounds. I lost a little bit more than that, but I gained some back in the water percentage. I got a fitness scale. Definitely lost some body fat. When I started this, I was closer to 10% body fat. With 60% water, and that was on day 20. I got that scale and started measuring, and I was a little bit heavier all around there. Then I've gone down about between 7 and 8% body fat, and I'm up between 63 and 65% water. And yeah, I'm still when I started this, I was probably 131 to 135. Now I'm anywhere from 120 to 125. So And I've even seen myself some days dip down as low as 119, which I haven't been that scrawny since I was 19 years old. So I can't wait to start refeeding and start lifting weights again. I've just been doing kind of calisthenics and stretches and stuff. I should probably even do more of those, but then that requires more juice, which is more time consuming and more money, and that's another thing. This is an expensive, very expensive health regimen. I mean, for what it's done for me in terms of my immune deficiency, totally worth it.
Money is one form of energy.
True.
What do you want to?
It's a tool. It's a tool.
Don't get identified with the money. We're all in unique financial situations, so it's important to consider it. But as far as I'm concerned, food is the one place where I think we can be more liberal in our spending, simply because it's going to. But also realize food is, like you said, it's a tool. It's important that we get the nutrients, but invest in what you're eating every day. Invest in that, because that's going to create your feelings. It's going to help create your thoughts and your emotional state.
Absolutely. And that's what led me to raw food, man. It was just my body. My body led me there from.
Because mind control, this is shout out to Robbie Wild, Rob Wild. Some people may be familiar with him watching this video. He's another local New England raw vegan who's been doing mostly fruitarian for a long time. He made a great point, being that mind control is very common. Like human beings, if you're living in the mind all the time, it's so easy to get controlled and flip-flop in your inner knowing, because knowing isn't a thought. It's not an idea like, oh, like because I have this logic, and this experience, I know. It's not so binary and clear cut like that. It's a feeling within yourself. And like Nick and I have experienced, a lot of the raw food it's how I feel in my being. I'm still going to be logical enough to the extent that I'm tracking my macros and making sure I'm getting caloric density and whatnot, but it's important to know how you feel when you're eating a certain way. And if you're going to try a diet, try something, just being aware of how the changes in your diet, if you went from a standard American diet trying to transition right into a raw vegan diet, that's going to be hardcore for a lot of people.
We crave what we're made of,
So that's why also I think it's important for anyone, wherever you're starting in your diet, whatever, get the labels and the ideas. And this is something I struggled too with raw veganism. It was like my own internal thoughts, like, oh, this is like such a orthorexic, ultra pure ego trip thing. And it was very easy for me at first glance to look at it like that. And you can look at anything like that. The important element being, I was in my head, I was judging.
Right, and that's contrast. That's contrast, right? That's like you're looking at it in the lens of what the aggregate of society thinks about this way of life,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, because the thing about it, if we look at any diet with unbiased as children before, we've been, when we get back to pure awareness, we're not comparing it. We're using our awareness now. We're tapping into how we're feeling now. Why am I drinking this right now? Or it's like trying to get away from, and not to get away from, because you try to get away from. Like it's like one of the most spiritual things you can do is to confront those dark thoughts, to confront those inner contradictions and whatnot, and just be with them and breathe and love yourself through them, because you will drain more energy not eating a certain, what you're thinking. If you're just thinking negativity, if you're just beating yourself up, if you're just critiquing, I'm being negative right now, or, oh, I didn't eat healthy today. You're thinking that, be compassionate with yourself. Be like, hey, I had a few beers tonight. I'm trying to quit alcohol, but I know that sobriety is what I want. Or, hey, I'm getting clean. I'm eating the raw foods. I had some cooked food or whatever. I had something that wasn't part of my goal, but that's okay. I'm going to be compassionate with myself.
And then just focus on what you want.
What you want.
Don't
individually.
focus on what
not
you don't
not
want.
what Nick wants, not what I want. What you, the viewer, who is a very unique individual who deserves to honor their feelings, thoughts, and experiences. What do you want out of this?
And we might have similar interests, and then we can share and help each other with that focus and that attention. And I just want to, speaking of that, I just want to plug real quick that
it's getting hot.
it is. Yeah. So I came across a study today done, I think it was in Canada, and it's this year, came out this year, about biophotons and the role it plays in our food. This is huge, because this is what everybody the really woke people in this